following show contains adult content. It's not our intent to offend anyone, but we want to inform you that if you are a child under the age of 18 or get offended easily, this next show may not be for you. The content, opinions, and subject matter of these shows are solely the choice of your show hosts and their guests, and not those of the Entertainment Network or any affiliated stations. Any comments or inquiries should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for listening.
Hey everyone, and welcome to 50 Shades of Bullshit. I'm your host, Christine Lalonde, and this is the podcast where we uncover the truth about online dating. Now let's begin. Hey everyone, this is Christine.
I am Jada.
And this is 50 Shades of Bullshit. Hi.
Christine. Hi. New background, new everything.
Yeah, I've been a little displaced this week for the next 3 weeks. I am not home. I had found mold in my kitchen, and I'm in a new location. So here we are.
Love it.
Yeah. So how's life this week? How's life
this
for
week
you?
is good. I'm traveling tomorrow. So I'm a little all over the place. But it's not bad. No complaints.
I see a different hairdo. I like it.
Braids, yes.
I cut mine off, and you went and got braids.
There you go.
Well, yeah. Well, this week's episode is about finding the blessing in the mess, and I just think that that's a true story. I'm going to try to back my camera up a little bit. That's true story. So as many of our listeners know, I was dating the long distance relationship thing that turned out to be a chatfish. We've decided it was a chatfish. That is where you are chatting with somebody and they tell you all about themselves, or they portray themselves as something that they're not. It's not that they're pretending to be somebody else. They're just pretending to not be who they are. And we're calling it chat fishing. But I have an interesting story. I dated someone from a website 10 years ago. We were living together for 2 years. We stayed in touch over all this time. It's been 8 years since we broke up, 6 since we even talked. After I broke up with my long distance bullshit, I got back on a dating site, and I happened to be in Orange County visiting friends, and my ex from 10 years ago was on the dating site and found me, and we reconnected. Now, typically I would never go backwards ever. But there wasn't anything wrong with him. He was wonderful. I did spend a lot of time comparing other men to him, what he did for me, what he was like with me, things like that. The thing about it is that his problems, his issues, and the things that I had going on that didn't work while we were dating have gone away. They're different. I've healed. I've changed. He's gotten on track. He's doing his thing. So it's going really well. We're checking to see how how it works. And we're just making some good things happen out of the mess.
Well, I love all these moves. So it must be good. It must be really good.
Yeah, it's going pretty good.
Right. That's awesome. You deserve it. I'm happy for you.
Thank you. Well, I try to, keep things moving forward, like Karla is going to come on and talk about today about, making good things out of bad things, how to be grateful and how to find a blessing in something that goes wrong. And I love that. I'm all about the positive thinking. I'm all about moving forward and not hanging on to the old, bringing in the good and the new. And sometimes something that was so far ago and there was, good things there that held you together, but things needed to change. I love that we were capable of growing. My 15-year-old daughter said to me a few weeks ago, Mom, I think it's beautiful when people can make changes and change their life.
I
And
love
I was
that.
like, girlfriend, are you going 16 or 30?
But that's so true, though. There's so much truth in that.
Yeah.
I love
She's
it.
good. She's good. So what about you, Jada? What have you been doing? Is anything, what are you making blessings out of?
I try to make blessings out of every single day that I wake up. I believe it's a blessing that I was even able to get out of bed. So I try to make every day
Nice.
most positive, amazing, amazing day.
I love that. I love it. By the way, Jada, your camera looks like it's like blurry on your beautiful face.
Oh, I don't know what happened.
Let me clean it off. I don't know.
Yeah, let me clean it. I'll clean it. I don't know.
But yeah, let's I'm excited to talk to Karla. Now, Karla came on our show a while ago. She was on episode 35. And if y'all don't know what episode that was, episode 35 was overcoming life's what the fuck moments. And we really talked about getting through domestic abuse, getting through surviving people. Oh, see, look, now I see you. Surviving the bad. And Karla was really great and insightful on some domestic abuse situations that she'd gone through. Janice was co-hosting. Both Janice and I have both lived through that. And it was really an incredible, powerful episode, so much so that I wanted her to come back. And I really wanted her to come back today more than anything, because this is the last Thursday that we could have this show talking about domestic abuse, because this is Domestic Abuse Awareness Month. And I just think it's really important that we step out of ourselves and really talk about these type of things, because when we talk and share and show that we can survive, that we can move on, that we give hope to others who think there is no hope. So hopefully we are able, to do that for people.
I love it.
Me too.
I'm excited. I'm excited to talk to her.
Oh, she's amazing. So let me tell you a little about Karla. Karla Docter is her name. She is a leader. She is embodiment coach. She's a transformational speaker and author. She's a certified elite coach, revelation breathwork facilitator, which I love breathwork. She is also the founder of EmpowerCon. It's a 3-day premier virtual retreat experience for women to recharge and step into their power in leadership. And she has these incredible tools to help people overcome whatever life brings them. She is an extraordinary woman. She's survived trauma and domestic abuse as well. And today we're going to talk about what are we talking about today? I forgot. Oh, finding blessing in the mess.
I was going to say we just talked about it. Yes.
Finding my brain in the bullshit. That's where we are. So let's bring on Karla Docter. Karla.
Oh, you're on mute, Karla. Oh, there you are.
Hey.
Hi.
Happy to have you back.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I was so excited when I got that message, and I was like, obviously, full body, F yes, let's do this.
Let's do it. Oh my gosh. So how's life been for you since you were last on the show?
Oh man. I mean, life is good. We all have things that we could complain about, but part of what we're talking about today, right? Finding the blesson in the mess, or the blessing. It's this combination of the blessing and the lesson that unfolds in every single obstacle or opportunity, right?
Yeah.
That we experience. And so you know, life is this one big wild and crazy ride.
Yes.
When we can learn to ride with the waves versus like
Um,
trying to swim upstream, right?
I can't swim, so I'm just going to ride them. I'm going to dance through 'em.
Just ride them, you know, and you know, it's so much easier said than done, right? Like
Yeah,
when you're in the muck, it's hard, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
it
that's the
can
whole,
be.
but when you can tap into the trust and knowing that like things are going to work out, you've survived 100% of your worst days so far. Like,
Yes,
you've made it. We've made it, people. We've made it.
exactly.
Tap into that. There's so much more like excitement waiting for you. And, you know,
Yeah.
I have this conversation often with my clients and in my groups that it's like, we want predictable, right? We want this certainty. I want X amount of dollars coming in my bank. I want certainty that my partner is going to be there. I want certainty in all these things. But certainty is kind of boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we came here to live life, to have adventures, to know what it feels like to be loved and to love. But oftentimes we don't know what that feels like until we've had our heart broken or
Yeah.
we've stumbled and tripped and fallen and made, you know, decisions that hindsight we're like, oh,
Maybe not the best decision.
I wasn't thinking there, but it brought you to this moment, to this person, to this opportunity to hear today and now. So
I
uh,
agree.
when we
I
can
agree.
tap into that.
Yeah, well, as you were probably hearing before we brought you on, I could have been upset with myself for trusting somebody I really didn't know, for believing somebody's bullshit, for, the whole 9 yards. I could have been upset and freaking out, but I was actually thinking, you know what? I'm kind of okay with this. This is cool. It taught me a lesson. I learned something along the way. It put me in a place where I am now, where, I see so many good things with that, and I love that. So tell us more, Karla, about what you are teaching people, what you're bringing to the table when you talk about finding that silver lining in all this bullshit.
Yeah. Well, and I do want to clarify, like, it's not necessarily just a silver lining. There's a
Okay.
big difference between having a positive outlook and toxic positivity. And there's a very fine line there. When
Okay.
we try to just sprinkle glitter on crap,
Mhm.
what is it? It's sparkly poo. We haven't
Sparkly
changed the
poo poo.
substance, right? So part of this finding the bless on getting through the muck, like, we actually have to allow ourselves to feel and express the emotions that we feel. And this can be challenging, right? Whether, especially as women, right? Like we're already told that we're too emotional or our hormones or this must be that time of month or whatever. And we
Mhm.
experience a lot of shame for having emotions. And
Mhm.
about 50% of the population, I don't know if you know anything about human design, that's a whole nother topic we could talk about. Like 50% of the population is meant to feel emotions very strongly. They wake up feeling mad, happy, sad, angry, but there's nothing triggering them to feel those feelings. So,
Mhm.
majority of the time, they grow up feeling like they're too much or too emotional or too this. So, they're
Mhm.
trying to conform to society. And then the other people who are just feeling feelings or feeling other people's feelings, then we're too much or too emotional or too this or too that. So we
Yeah.
tend to really kind of repress things, or we have shame on ourselves. Shame on me. I should have known better. I should have done this. I should have. And then we're shitting all over ourselves. And then that leads to stuck and repressed emotions. And so
Mhm.
if we could look from a point of now, the only time that we have is right now. Like
Yeah.
the past, it doesn't even exist. 5 minutes ago, it's gone. There's nothing we can do about that time.
Yep, true.
Future has yet to have happened. And we can't predict the future, but we can influence it. with what we do right now.
Mm.
And so when we allow ourselves to actually feel the things that we are experiencing,
Mm-hmm.
then we're able to go through things so much quicker. So I'm like, how do I want to say this? We're giving these opportunities in life when somebody cuts us off in traffic, or you stub your toe, or you're running late for the show and you're trying to do your makeup real fast and you stab yourself in the eyeball with the mascara. And it's like, or you feel some sort of way. There's all of these triggers that happen in life all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all opportunities for you to release some stuck emotions. We're just walking around with all of this stuck, trapped stuff. With the car example, somebody cuts you off in traffic. Now, this could trigger a lot of road rage for some people, right? You're like, what the right? And then you see a lot of people's beautiful, colorful language come out in those moments. And then I used to then shame myself for having negative thoughts about that person. I was like, I'm a good person. Maybe this person's just running late, or their wife's in the hospital, or there's some emergency. And then I would justify it. But really, I was then making myself feel shameful on the inside for having those thoughts. This all stacks up. If you were really allow yourself to express and release those feelings and those emotions, what happens is you find the root cause for what's actually causing that. But when we continue to ignore all of these things and we repress, then this stuff builds and builds and builds. And then what happens when you have a very tall tower built on large piles of poo and you stick some bricks in there, eventually it's going to come tumbling down.
Yeah.
So like with the car accident, or the car traffic, was like, this happened and I just discovered this tool called RRT. It's a form of tapping. So it's like EFT, if you've heard of emotional freedom technique, that we have these energetic meridians running through our body, just like we have veins. And so when you're tapping on these certain points and then actually talking and expressing as though you would if nobody else was watching or listening, saying the things that you know that you should never say out loud. When you do that, when you're tapping, you're actually energetically releasing it, and you actually get to the root of it. That it was like, I was doing this and it came down to this moment and it was like, oh, and now once again, nobody sees me. I'm just invisible. Nobody cares about me, right? And then I get down into like a moment when I was a teenager and then this happened and this happened. It was like, these were all just opportunities for me to release these stuck feelings and emotions that I was feeling for such a long time. And then you like finally have peace. If we could start to do that proactively and use our world, which is full of triggers for many people, we could start to release the things, and then the feelings aren't so big. We're giving them so much more meaning than they're really worth.
Yeah.
I love that. So I was just doing tapping last night. I just, I do affirmations and blah, blah, blah. Well, I'd never heard of it this way. So you're saying, go ahead and say all those negative BSs while you're tapping, and then it'll help release them instead of suppressing them.
Yes.
I like it.
Yes.
I like it.
I
That's
like it.
pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's so much power even in using your voice, right? And speaking things out loud, that it's like having if you're mad at your partner or your kid or your dog, it's like pull up a picture of them and have a conversation with them while you're tapping and say the things that you would never say to them in person. Make sure nobody hears you when you're doing other issues.
So for our listeners, there is a thing called tapping. If you don't know it, you can look it up or you can reach out to us. But there are some places that you can tap that your basic ones. And I do right over my right eye with my right two first fingers, over the right eye, next to the right eye on the side, under the right eye, above the nose. Below the nose, above the lip, your chin, your shoulder blade, these what are these called?
Collarbone.
Collarbones. And then I go under here with my right, it's left side with my right arm, and then tap my head. And that's a nice little circle that you can go around and do that. So if you haven't tried tapping before, it's really an incredible thing. And I like the idea of expressing all the bullshit, because sometimes I'm all about the positive affirmation.
Mm-hmm.
And about manifesting, and I try never to say the negative, and always try to reverse it, instead of saying what I don't want, what I do want. So part of me is always feeling like, well, what about all this crazy stuff I have inside my head and body that's the negative? How do I release that? So I'm actually going to try that.
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
Well, it's like, yeah, because we spend all of our time, we're consciously now trying to think all of the positive words and all of the positive things.
Mm-hmm.
But we operate 95% from our subconscious.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we're always in our thinking brain trying to think of what the word is, the programming's still running on the back end, right? And yes, we can, through affirmations and those different things, make big shifts. And, there's a whole process and a program, and it's Sarah Longoria. She's the founder of this form of tapping, and she has a community and lots of awesome stuff. So you can go check her out. But, yeah, that's kind of like the start, and it's like this purge. It's this release process. And I always talk about, like, it's this release, receive. In order for you to, like, call in the relationship and call in those yummy bits that you want into your life, we have to get rid of our old past hurts and pains.
Yeah.
In order for me to move, my new boyfriend into the house, I had to, like, physically, my ex can't be there. Mm-hmm. Mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, I can't have him in my heart in that way, so that I can make room for all the yummy juiciness that's going to happen here. So when we can make that room, prepare ourselves to be able to keep, hold, and maintain, because I'll tell you what, any new partner is probably going to trigger something in you that a past partner, it used to drive you crazy.
Yeah.
It's because you need to tap on it. And you need to get, we're making meaning about it. Okay. Oh, they're just so lazy, just laying on the couch all the time. All they do is this. But really deep down, you're like, God, what I wouldn't give for a break to just not give a F about anything for 5 hours and watch football and don't have to worry about groceries, cooking, cleaning the house, getting the kids ready for this, not to mention my business, this, right? Like, we're mad at them because they're not doing something, but really it's like we're kind of jealous. God, what would it feel like to not do anything for 5 hours?
I do not know. If someone
I have no idea what that feels like.
Neither. I'm like, oh, what is that? Not even a thing.
Yeah, no, I don't know it either. Wow. Okay, I love that. So,
now, Christine, you said that you just used that method last night. Do you do this every day?
No, I just happened across, sometimes I'm reminded by things, and then I'm like, oh, wait, yeah, I manifest so much. I manifest with water. I manifest with Grabovio numbers. I manifest with, the power of visualizing. I manifest by writing. I manifest a lot of fucking ways. And then I combine them. I kind of figure out, what feels right for the moment for this one and that one. So then all of a sudden I saw this TikTok last night and this woman's tapping, and I was like, oh, that's that. Oh yeah, I forgot I can tap. So then I was tapping, and I truly believe that there are no coincidences. Here you are. I'm thinking constantly about how can I get rid of the negative and stop and continue to think the positive. And you're telling me knock that shit out of me. Knock it out.
Tap it out.
Tap it, tap it, tap it.
Tap it out. Tap it out. Tap it out.
Tap it out. Have y'all seen that video? I walk it out. I walk it out. I walk it. Have y'all seen that, by the way?
Yes.
With the ladies with the polyester.
Yes.
That's
what
me
I
and my
just thought
mother.
of.
It's me and my mother in our living room on a Sunday afternoon watching American Bandstand, and we're like, I walk it out, I walk it out, I walk it. I love it. Anyway, I get off topic so easily. All right, so that's a great thing. It's releasing the negative, tapping it out, working through it, and removing all that negativity that's bottled up inside of us. It allows it to go. So tell us more. What else can we do, Karla, to help us find the good in sometimes what we find may be too messy or a pile of shit? How can we find goodness through a pile of shit with glitter?
Put the goggles on. Goggles, nose plugs, glove up.
Gloves.
You know, one of the things that I really, I just got this like incredible download like 2 weeks ago, and it ended up being this whole big like workshop idea that I'm going to do at EmpowerCon this year. But it's all in like remembering how really, truly incredible you are. So when I went through, you know, so I had this long history, a decade of abusive relationships from 15 to 25 years old. Then fast forward, you know, I was living my best life, and I was working at a nonprofit, and I was doing all the right things, and I was married and in this healthy, stable, safe relationship. And I had my vision board, and this was November of 2017. I made my vision board, and I had vision board body, then vision board baby. Then I was going to work on my marriage, and then I was going to work on cleaning and organizing my house.
Okay.
4 months later, vision board body, check. A month later, pregnant, check. 3.5 months later, my marriage might be over. Let me check in with this vision board. This is not what was on here. This is not how this was supposed to go.
Right.
And so then going through all of that, I had just put in my 2 weeks notice at the nonprofit that was serving survivors to take kind of an easier position while growing a tiny human. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, am I going to be a single mom? Am I going to be able to do this? Am I going to be able to pay all the bills? How am I going to do all of this?
Right.
Is it over? I'm going to do everything I can to try to like fix this or fix myself as if I did something wrong.
Right.
And you can psychoanalyze like the heck out of those types of situations, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, I didn't know what it was here to teach me. And when we go through it, we don't have to know what it's there to teach us just yet. We just got to keep going. And we got to tap into the trust and certainty that like everything is working out in my favor.
Okay.
When I first discovered this, that my marriage might be over, I went to grab a journal, and I was like, okay, I need to express some stuff. And I opened up to a page, and it was an entry from back when I was 17 or 18 years old. And I was writing about how much I didn't want to be here anymore, because if this is what life is like, I don't want to live.
Right.
And I thought to myself, I was like, holy shit, like I thought it was over then, but I got through that, and I'm going to get through this too. And I think if we can lean back and look at all of the things that we've overcome in our lives, big traumas, small traumas, little things, relationships, hiccups, getting fired. I mean, we want to talk about it. It's like been fired 3 times, going through this, going through that, separation, divorce, uncertainty. Then we've got a global panorama happening. You know, there's like all of these different things. But when you can tap into the knowing, the faith, the trust, like you're not here on accident. You're not here just to give up and throw in the towel.
Exactly.
Stick with it, hang with it, and know that on the outside, there's something beautiful waiting for you. And it's going to be even better than you ever thought. Because I'll tell you what, when I went through that release process, finding the know, love, and trust factors for myself, beginning to know, love, and trust in other people and in God, universe, divine source energy, when I started tapping into that, the most yummy man came into my life.
Right.
And now when I look at my vision board, the things that I desired in a relationship,
Yeah, they're happening now. They weren't with what you were thinking it was.
It doesn't always look how we thought it was going to.
Yeah.
But if you stick with it and you keep waking up and you keep putting one foot in front of the other, it's going to turn out so much better than you ever thought it would. And sometimes doing the thing that's the scariest thing and letting something or someone go, or an idea or a thought or a belief or a habit or a pattern that you know that you should let go. On the outside of that, there's so much beauty waiting for you.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So when what I try to do a lot is think about, okay, I had trauma with somebody. Let's say I broke up with somebody or someone broke up with me, and I look back on it and then I think, okay, how long did it take me to get through it? How long did it take me to get to a place where it was okay? It didn't bother me. I was over it. And I then stop and think, well, I'm not going to stay in this pain because I got through all the other pain and it no longer seemed to matter by a certain point. And then I think, well, why did I suffer that long? I'm just going to release it and let it go now instead of hanging on to it for so long. So it's kind of like we all have 20/20 vision. We all can, that whole hindsight is 20/20. Well, everything in our lives is hindsight. So if we just stop and look at some of the things that we've been through, like you said, Karla, you've gone through these big things that were so painful. It's like, well, why did I hang on to that pain so long? And it doesn't matter to me now. It's the same thing as in right this minute. I can either hang on to it and suffer for 6 months, or I can let it go in 6 days or 6 weeks or 6 hours, whatever. I can learn from it because I'm looking at it from the past, or from the future, I guess. So we do have hindsight is 20/20, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that phrase just means so much more after the actual year 2020. Like,
well, yeah.
Well, instead of hindsight is 20/20, it's the bullshit is 20/20.
2020.
Yeah. Well, and it's like we
right.
survived that. We're going to keep on surviving.
Yeah.
Our ancestors, the things our ancestors went through, like it's incredible. And here's the thing about that. Ancestral generational trauma is passed down through our DNA. It's up to like 14 years. So if you think 14 generations of trauma being passed down, that I think like right now we're in this time where people are like, okay, enough is enough. It's time to let some of this shit go.
And besides, it's not our shit. Right. Yeah, I get it. Our ancestors went through it. They learned, they loved, they suffered, they whatever. They went on to live their lives and had another generation. Why are we hanging on to that? There's no need for it. We can learn from it and look at it and go, oh, okay, yeah, but I don't need to keep it running through the cycle of mine and my children's lives.
Well, I think part of this is it's almost easier to be in this disempowered state, right? Take the situation with a separation. It was like, it was not my choice, right? And so I was like, well, no, he's got to file because this was his decision and da 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 da. But then my friend so gently reflected back to me and was like, well, Karla, is that an empowering space? If we don't feel like we have a choice, we always have a choice, and there's always more than one choice. But when we feel like we don't have a choice, we choose a disempowering space.
Yes, we
And
do.
keeps us in this low energy, woe is me, life is happening to me, versus the flip side of that is, well, no, I choose this separation because I choose me. Because I choose to be in a relationship where I am loved, adored, admired, supported, celebrated in all of the ways that feel really good for me. I choose to be in a job and a role and a this and a this where I get to be me. I choose to do right. So when we can flip it, when we're going through the mess, if we can see how we can flip this to say, okay, this situation's not going how I thought it would, but how can I actually change this so that I'm choosing myself? And start to reframe it, because then that power and that energy.
Well, you're reclaiming your power. You're reclaiming your power and getting your power back, and you're not staying as stuck.
Yes.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it.
And then you get to leave the shitty boots in the pile.
Yeah, gonna wash those down with the hose. So
Or manifest, you know.
Right. Well, let's talk about some of this. I think you do a 3-day seminar.
Yeah.
Is that right, Karla?
It's like part conference, part retreat, part community. But yeah.
Awesome. Tell us about that. What is that about?
Ooh, so it's called EmpowerCon. This started 4 years ago. It was an in-person event, and the foundation of it was, I created this event because it was something that I needed. It was something that I didn't really see. But I went to a lot of conferences. I'm big on personal and professional development, and it was either all like rah, 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 or like too hardcore. And so it started with women sharing their stories of overcoming and giving actionable tools and creating plans and whatnot. And so the first one was in person, and then Corona happened. And with hesitation, I went online. But it was the most beautiful thing, because then I got to tap into experts from around the globe. And we went international and had people from Finland and Australia and all these other cool places. And so what it is an opportunity for you to get some rest and to recharge, for you to add some tools into your toolbox. I joke and say I outgrew the toolbox. I have a whole she shed of tools. And I feel like I've accepted my assignment as being like the conduit to help lead people to find the tools that work for them, right? So maybe it's tapping, maybe it's speaking it out loud, maybe it's rage dancing or raging on a page, right? Like there's so many different ways that you can express yourself that you could have along the stage, along the journey. And so part of this is a lot of introspection and experiences. So we're going to have movement. We're going to do some gesture work and expressing and releasing things within our body. We're going to laugh. We're probably going to cry. We're going to do some of that yummy revelation breath work and meditations and just kind of take people on a journey so that they can really own their personal power, reclaim that power back, step into that embodied leadership. And what I mean by that is like being the leader it is that you know that you've been called to do, that you've been called to be, and really allowing that to feel good about how you show up, feeling good and safe to shine your light and to speak your voice and to be seen and to be heard and all of those other yummy bits. So it's going to be really, I'm really excited about this year. And then, like I said, I got that download. One day I was driving home from the grocery store and it was like all these questions were like coming to me. And we're basically going to create this evidence. But I need to come up with something clever. Maybe anybody who's listening, if you have something super clever, I'll give you a special bonus if you name this thing for me. But I'm like, I don't know if this is like the Bless On book. It's basically going to be this portfolio of evidence to show you how fucking incredible you are. We're going to talk about the things that you've overcome, the things that you thought that were going to break you, but you succeeded anyways. We're going to talk about how other people actually see you and get some evidence there. You know, as like one of my coaches, Coach Glitter, you know, she called it the evidence file. When somebody compliments you or comments on a post or thank you so much or and all of that, like take a screenshot, and then I'd have that as a file folder on my phone. So that was great. So I'd always reference that evidence file. But now it's like, in times of doubt and uncertainty within ourselves or what we're doing, or are we really doing it, or can I really do this? How awesome would it be to have this whole freaking book showing you, reminding you of all of these incredible things that you found the courage despite thinking that like you were never going to be able to make it through this moment, and really kind of tap into that. And so that's going to be one of our workshops that we're going to do, where we're actually going to create that throughout the program. And I ended up coming home. I made 2 pages of questions. I was like, this might be a book for me. This might be this. Oh my gosh, like this is so fun. So really tapping into that, and then tapping into the energy of that embodied leader.
I love
And
it.
where is the conference held? Where do you have it?
From the comfort of your home.
Oh, it's online.
Nice.
Yeah. So we're still doing it virtually. Eventually, I'd like to do an in-person component and virtual. And so it's going to be a Thursday evening kickoff welcome. We're going to have go through an experience there and connect, do some intention settings. And then Friday and Saturday during the day for about 5 hours during the day, we'll go through some different experiences. We'll do some deep dives. And then we're even doing events leading up to the event. So just on Tuesday, we did our first monthly gathering, and we did a new moon non-intention setting because the new moon was eclipsed, and it's not supposed to be one that you do an intention setting. So into a whole spiel on that. But
nice.
So yeah, just to get people together and to get the community started. And then VIP ticket holders, which is all that's on sale. It's like a pre-sale right now. So if anybody's interested, you can go to karladocter.com, Karla with a K, doctor with an ER. I'm doctor. I just was born this way.
I wasn't made into a doctor. I was born a doctor.
Yeah. karladocter.com/EmpowerCon. And you can get all of the juicy details for that there.
Yes, I love it.
And if anybody wants a free meditation, if you go to karladocter.com/freebies, you can get access to this beautiful abundance breath meditation that I did, as well as a 3-part training series that I did on how to actually attract what it is that you desire, and self-repelling it, because so much of our energy, when we're suppressing, we're repelling. If we get logical and we're all in the goals and what's actually possible, we're repelling. So really helping people tap into the infinite abundance that's all around us.
I love that. Can you imagine if you'd went to school to be a doctor and they were like, doctor?
I've never heard that before.
Okay, then. Smarty pants. Oh, God. I love you too. Oh, my God. What can I say? I'm just full of all these like amazing, things. Yeah. So I love that you're doing this seminar. When are you doing it, by the way?
So it's going to be the end of January. I was going to say July.
Oh, into January. So it's coming up.
So it's like, let's end 2022 strong, beautiful, powerful. and use the momentum. Like, let's not wait until January. We set all of our things on New Year's, and then 2 weeks later, we give up on it all. Like, let's continue the momentum. We still have 2 months left of this year.
Yeah.
What you start now, the things that are going to happen and unfold for you, they'll start to appear for you in January and February and March and April. And then you roll with that momentum and keep going and be in a community where you can be celebrated, not just tolerated.
I love it. I
love
like
that.
that you do all these things that I really love. The tapping. You also do the breath work, which breath work is, oh my God. Breath work is
life-changing.
Unbelievable. It is life-changing. And I actually saw myself in a past life. I saw my spirit guide. I mean, there was a lot of revelations about myself that I needed to see, that just really released a lot of trauma for me, and it allowed me to be in a really great place, and really start to see, because even when we tap or we breath work or we manifest or we meditate or we whatever, okay, we may be doing all these things, but when we finally stop and see, that's when it starts to happen. Because we can say, I want this, I want that, I'm manifesting this, I'm manifesting that. But if we're just so caught up on doing it and not stopping to see when it's coming, that when it arrives, like I've been manifesting my guy for a while, like really manifesting in the right way, because stop talking about what I don't want, and just focus on what I do want. And I realized when it came that it was shit I already had, because it was with somebody I already had. And by releasing all this stuff that I'd released for me, I'd healed, he'd grown, he'd developed his life, and then it was there again. That just blew my mind. I had to really stop and think, whoa, I have to, you have to stop and see when it's happening, when it's coming. Yeah.
Well, and it's like part of that too was like you released it,
you let it go.
And had you have not done that, you wouldn't have learned all of these different lessons, right? I think so long we just tolerate and we settle for less than what it is that we actually want, out of this fear that something better is not coming. And that is not a place to live, right? To like settle for these things out of fear that something better is not coming. You're going to manifest more fear and more WTF moments.
Well, I was living as if I already had him in my life. So that's what I did every day. I manifest, and then I live that, yes, the money that I've been manifesting, it's here. I don't have to worry about it because I let it go. It's here. The man I want, it's here. So I have to live. You have to live what you're manifesting. Otherwise, it's not going to really
It's worthless
happen.
manifesting.
It really is. It is worthless. So, Karla, tell us one more time how people can find you so they can learn how to tap, breath work, come and join your seminar, EmpowerCon. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So I'm at Karla Docter on all the socials, Clubhouse, Instagram, Facebook. So Karla with a K, Doctor with an and then karladocter.com/freebies. You can get access to that meditation, the 3-part training series. And you'll also then get more information on EmpowerCon and a special yummy offer just for you.
Nice. So also, if anybody wants to reach out to us here, you can do Instagram, 50 Shades of Bullshit. And then you can email us at 50shadesofbullshit@gmail.com. Bullshit in our Gmail is SHYT, unfortunately. And then Jada, we have a few seconds. Jada, tell them how they can find you for your dating coaching and or your matchmaking.
I am on Instagram. It's Jada, JAIDAP _matchmaker. That's the same for my Facebook. And for my business, it's www.IamFlirtingWithForever.com.
I love flirting with forever. Well, Jada, I love having you as my co-host. Karla, I'm really, really thankful that you came back today. The last time we talked about, surviving, today we're talking about thriving, and I love that. So thank you for coming back and being with us. And everyone, thank you so much for coming and
Thank
listening and
you.
watching with us. We'll be back here same time, same place next week. And until then, keep it real.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share with your friends, like and follow us on Instagram at 50 Shades of _bullshit and Facebook at 50 Shades of Bullshit. Thanks so much for listening, and we really hope